ladies and gentlemen, respected elders, and all those committed to living a vibrant, healthy life in their golden years. Let me start with a curious truth. Just because it grows on a tree and looks fresh and juicy, doesn't mean it's safe for everyone, especially not for seniors. We often hear the phrase, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what if, at a certain age, it's not the apple that helps but the wisdom to know when to avoid the apple? Today, we're diving into a topic rarely spoken of in the open. 8 dangerous fruits seniors should never eat. And this isn't fear-mongering, this is insight. Real stories, advice passed down by those who have lived through the consequences of blindly following health trends. This is advice from old people who've tasted the sweet, the sour, and sometimes there is a belief that what is natural must always be good. This belief often grows stronger when we speak of fruits. The soft sweetness of a ripe banana, the refreshing coolness of watermelon, the vibrant hues of papaya, mango, or lychee. These images are associated with health, vitality, and care. But when the body begins to change with age, what once nourished can begin to disrupt. The same fruit that supported growth in youth can become a silent obstacle in old age. For those who seek longevity, clarity, and stability in the later years of life, understanding the relationship between the body and food is essential. Not all fruits are equal for everyone. And more importantly, not every fruit suits the body at every stage of life. In the journey of aging, the internal environment becomes more sensitive. The digestive fire weakens, the kidneys bear the burden of decades of filtration, and the blood becomes more responsive, sometimes to reactive. There was once an elderly woman in a remote mountain village. Her name was Nira. She had always been praised for her glowing skin and active mind, and she attributed her good health to her love for fruits. Every morning she would eat a large banana, a few dried dates, and a glass of fresh papaya juice. For many years, it worked like magic, until one day, she began to feel tired without reason. Her heart would beat strangely at night, and she felt bloated after every meal. Her neighbors believed she was just getting old, but when a visiting herbalist came to the village, he asked her only one question: what do you eat before sunrise? Sometimes, it's not the age but the habit that must be adjusted. Nira's fruits, once a source of vitality, were now overloading her body with sugars and potassium. The herbalist explained gently, the medicine lies not in the taste but in the timing, and even honey can burn if the fire is too weak to hold it. Nira listened, shifted her diet, and within weeks her energy returned. She was not sick, she was just unaware. This brings us to a deeper understanding. Not all fruits are suitable for seniors, and it's not because fruits are bad. It's because the body has become a different terrain. A fruit that once provided hydration can now trigger inflammation. A fruit that used to boost energy can now disturb blood sugar. This is not a problem. This is an invitation to listen, to adjust, and to respect the changes within. The first challenge is the assumption that fruits are always healthy. This mindset leads many seniors to overconsume fruits like bananas, mangoes, or dates rich in natural sugars. But natural sugar is still sugar. And in an aging body, the metabolism that once processed it quickly may now be slower. The pancreas may struggle to regulate insulin as efficiently as before. Blood sugar spikes not only make one feel tired or dizzy, they also contribute to long-term damage in organs, vision, and nerves. In the monastery, the monks observe how different fruits affect their meditation. Some notice that after eating lychee or watermelon, their thoughts become scattered. Others observe a sudden sleepiness after a sweet papaya. So the elders advise, observe not only how food tastes, but how it behaves after it enters you. This is true wisdom. It is not about labeling a fruit good or bad. It is about recognizing what the body is telling you after you eat. For seniors with diabetes or borderline sugar issues, fruits like lychee, mango, watermelon, and even grapes can act like hidden enemies. They enter the bloodstream quickly, raise glucose levels, and then leave one feeling drained or anxious. Many elders report dizziness after fruits consumed on an empty stomach. They think it's weakness, but in many cases, it's the sugar spike and crash. The same applies to dried fruits, dates, raisins, and prunes. These are often consumed with the idea that they aid digestion or boost energy. But once dried, the sugars in them become extremely concentrated, and even a small handful can disturb the delicate sugar balance in seniors. Another important area that is often missed is the hidden interactions between fruits and medications. A fruit might appear innocent on the surface, but when it enters a body that is already managed by blood pressure pills, cholesterol-lowering drugs, or blood thinners, it can disrupt that entire balance. Grapefruit is one of the most dangerous in this aspect. It contains compounds that interfere with enzymes in the liver responsible for breaking down medications. As a result, the medicines either become too powerful or too weak. Both are dangerous. A senior once said after his morning walk, "I eat clean. I walk daily, but still my BP is never stable." The culprit wasn't his lifestyle, it was his daily glass of grapefruit juice. Fruits like oranges, pomelos, and other citrus varieties can also create similar issues. The acid in these fruits, when combined with certain medications, can increase the risk of internal bleeding or liver stress. But few people are told this. It is only when something goes wrong that they look for the cause. By then, the damage has already begun. There is also the issue of digestion. As the digestive system weakens with age, fruits that are high in fiber or fermentation potential can create gas, bloating, or discomfort. Apples, although praised for their benefits, contain fermentable fibers that can irritate the gut in sensitive seniors. Pineapple, with its enzyme bromelain, may aid digestion for some, but in others, especially those with gastritis or acid reflux, it can cause severe discomfort. Understanding the role of potassium is another key lesson for aging bodies. Many fruits are rich in potassium: bananas, avocados, oranges, cantaloupe. While potassium is essential for heart and muscle function, in seniors with compromised kidney function or those on diuretics, excessive potassium can lead to irregular heartbeats and muscle weakness. It's not about cutting these fruits entirely. It's about moderation, and it's about listening. There is a teaching often repeated in the East: the body speaks, but the ego interrupts. Seniors often think, "I've eaten this fruit my whole life. It never harmed me." But the body they speak of is no longer the same body. Age brings change. Change demands humility. When the body begins to speak differently, one must learn to listen with new ears. In many old communities, the elders had a rhythm to their eating. They didn't just eat what was available, they ate according to the season, the state of the body, the condition of the mind. A senior with high blood pressure was told to avoid pickled mangoes. Another with weak digestion avoided papaya at night. These were not scientific protocols, they were born of observation, repetition, and reverence for nature's wisdom. Today, we call it folk knowledge, but often this knowledge is more refined than we realize. True strength in old age is not found in resistance, it is found in adaptability. To adapt means to look again at what you eat, how you eat, and why you eat. It means accepting that the needs of the body today are different from what they were 10 years ago, and it means honoring those needs with awareness, not habit. So when we say that not all fruits are safe for seniors, it is not to cause fear. It is to remind you that wisdom is not in extremes, it is in discernment. The wise do not eat less or more, they eat right. And what is right is not found on a label. It is found through silence, observation, and an inner sense of. There is a saying among elders: when the river slows, even a pebble can alter its course. This is how the aging body behaves: sensitive, reactive, and no longer able to process food with the same resilience. What used to be a small indulgence in youth may now shift the balance of health. This is especially true when it comes to fruits that are high in potassium. What many don't realize is that for seniors, potassium is not always a friend. Its excess, silent and slow, becomes dangerous in bodies that no longer filter efficiently. The kidneys, once powerful, begin to soften their strength. The result is a buildup that may not cause pain, but it will disturb rhythm, blood pressure, even the clarity of thought. A monk once explained, when the stream is clean, even bitter herbs can heal. But if the stream is blocked, even sweet fruits can poison. This wisdom is often ignored when speaking of fruits like bananas, avocados, cantaloupe, or oranges. These are all rich in potassium, essential, yes, harmful. Only when the inner filters the kidneys have lost their sharpness. Potassium helps regulate heartbeat and muscle contractions. But when it builds up, the heart begins to misfire, the muscles weaken, and the body signals distress not loudly, but in whispers: fatigue, numbness, irregular heartbeat. These signs are subtle, but they grow. There was an old man named Harun who lived by a simple code. 2 bananas each day kept him strong. It had worked for him all his life. But after age 70, his health began to decline without reason. He had no illness, no diagnosis, just a strange heaviness in the body. His doctor eventually found elevated potassium levels too high for comfort. The culprit was not poison. It was the kindness of 2 bananas taken with devotion. Harun had treated his body like it was still 30, but his kidneys were now set. The fruit remained the same, but the container had changed. This realization humbles us. It teaches us that health is not just about what we eat, but about what we can absorb, what we can filter, what we can release. When potassium-rich fruits are consumed in excess by seniors, especially those with kidney issues or those on blood pressure medications, they slowly begin to tip the inner scales. The blood thickens, the breath shortens, and the body begins to send signals of imbalance. Even fruits like dried apricots, kiwi, nectarines, and prunes, though praised in diet charts, contain dense potassium. The body must now work harder to process what once came easily, and in this effort, fatigue grows. What is needed is not fear of these fruits, but wisdom about their quantity and timing. A small serving paired with hydration, never combined with high potassium meals. This is the art of balance. Another layer of caution appears when seniors are placed on diuretics, medications that flush water and sodium from the body. These medications also affect potassium levels. Some remove it, while others retain it. In both cases, uncontrolled fruit consumption disturbs the equation. A senior taking potassium-retaining drugs who consumes bananas, avocados and coconut water daily may find himself in dangerous territory without knowing. And when he says, "But I eat clean," he is not lying. He is unaware. The wisdom of elders often lies in their silence. They watch, they wait, they observe how their body reacts before making changes. A grandmother in her 90s once said, "If I eat 1 slice of melon, I sleep well. If I eat 2, I sweat at night." No one taught her this through books. She learned through presence, patience, and self-respect. This brings us into another deep lesson, that the traditions of the elders, their quiet rules about what to eat and when, were not superstition. They were rooted in experience. These old people, without laboratories or degrees, knew which fruit to avoid after surgery, during the cold season, or in times of weakness. They knew that watermelon on a tired stomach brought shivering, that mangoes at night invited heartburn, that pineapples on an empty stomach disturbed the head. And yet today, this wisdom is dismissed as folklore, but the body remembers, and the body does not lie. What old people pass down is often the result of decades of trial and error, observations repeated across generations. They knew that not everything sweet is safe, and not everything natural is neutral. For them, food was never just food. It was medicine, energy, and vibration. In the modern world, people seek validation from data, but the old ones sought validation from results. When a fruit left the body feeling restless, they removed it. When it brought calm, they embraced it. This is the kind of subtle awareness that can protect seniors better than charts, because it is tailored not to general facts, but to specific, personal experience. Fruits like grapefruit are a perfect example. For the unknowing, it is a refreshing start to the day. For the informed, it is a fruit that can interfere with over 40 types of common medications, blood pressure pills, statins, heart regulators, all affected by a single cup of grapefruit juice. It alters how medications are absorbed, sometimes doubling their strength, other times nullifying them completely. The danger here is not in taste, but in timing, not in quantity, but in interaction. Seniors, especially those on daily medications, must learn this sacred knowledge. Not everything healthy is harmless. Grapefruit, pomelo, even Seville oranges, these fruits contain compounds that block enzymes in the liver, and when these enzymes are blocked, drugs that are supposed to work gently now act too strongly, or not at all. The danger is silent, because it doesn't come with a warning label. It comes days later when blood pressure drops, suddenly, or when side effects appear without cause. A senior once said, "I never feared food, but I learned to study it." That is the essence of intelligent aging. It is not to live in anxiety, but to live in observation. With age, one must become not only the consumer but also the scientist. Watch what food does, listen to how the body feels, and always, always, remember that the body is not what it was 20 years ago. The elders who came before us may not have spoken in scientific terms, but they knew. Their warnings were wrapped in simple language. Don't eat this fruit in summer. Avoid that one after medicine. Take this only in the morning sun. And beneath those phrases lies deep understanding. They knew the body's rhythm, the effect of temperature, and the dance between medicine and food. Seniors today are blessed with access to information, but information must be tempered with humility. The body still holds the final truth. And the body, when listened to, becomes the best teacher. Fruits are a gift from nature, but nature does not play favorites. She gives with one hand and tests with the other. For the young, her sweetness energizes. For the old, it may confuse the pulse, cloud the mind, strain the kidneys. To know this is not to reject nature, is to meet her with respect, or the wisdom passed down from old people is not superstition. It is survival. It is the result of years spent watching a friend suffer after too much mango, or a neighbor collapse after mixing grapefruit with pills. These are not myths. These are markers left on the path, warning signs for those who follow. One fruit may comfort a child. The same fruit may disturb a grandfather. Both truths exist. It is the awareness of this contrast that opens the door to longevity, peace, and balance. Let the fruits you choose align with the moment you live in. Let your choices reflect your current body, not your memory of strength. In this way, the sweetness you take in will nourish, not harm, and the body, grateful for your respect, will repay you with steadiness. So next time you reach for a fruit, ask not just is it sweet, but also is it right for me? Because the goal is not just to live long but to live well. Thank you.